Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our new week of 20 minutes for Israel from Israel. We were able to connect with incredible people on the ground and hear a little bit what's going on, what they've been up to, so that we can see a side of Israel beyond the headlines, beyond all the news that we're following, and really get a better feel for what's going on in the hearts and minds of Israelis as we work every day to try to support our brothers and sisters overseas and to really be able to put ourselves in their shoes and do whatever we can to stand with them. Aliya, thank you so much for joining us. Aliya Moss, for those who don't know, is a recent graduate of our New England Jewish Academy who opted to take a year, maybe two now, a year to study at Midrashet Lindenbaum, one of the elite seminaries in Israel, before going off to college. Yeah, we're so glad that you were taking some time to be with us. Tell us a little bit, how you're holding up, what you're seeing, not going all the way back to October 7th now, but just what's the feeling now that you're encountering?
I would say now everyone's starting to get over a little bit of their shock, find their new normal. It's still definitely weird not seeing a lot of men under the age of 50 walking around places, unless they're in army uniform. That's definitely still present. People are starting to find a new routine. Things are starting to open up more. Museums are opening up. People are going more places. Schools opened up. So that's definitely, I think, been different, the new different that people are seeing.
We've tried to get you to join us a bunch of times, and we appreciate your flexibility. But part of why that is because you've been doing such important and wonderful work to support in all different ways. I heard you told me one time you couldn't be with us because you're at an army base. I believe last week you helped run a carnival. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the activities that you've been involved with?
So I've been, as you just said, I've been involved with a wide variety of activities. Twice we've gone to an army base. Actually, we also went yesterday to pack minot krav, army rations that combat soldiers will get in the field. So it's like a nice assembly line where you get to put things in, and we end up packing around 40,000 meals for soldiers. The school has run, through the school, we've been able to run several carnivals for women, for like Miluim families where their husbands are away. So it's been something that we've heard from kids and from moms that has been really helpful for them to get a break, for their kids to see other kids in a nice environment, and to play. And I've also been doing a lot of babysitting for those families, going over, giving the moms a break, getting to play with the kids. It's actually been a highlight of my day. I'm kind of sad they're going back to school, so I don't get to see them as much.
Well, I can attest that you're an excellent babysitter. But and then just tell us a little bit about what the schedule is like now. Are there classes? What's your day-to-day sort of situation?
So besides giving us chesed opportunities, I will hands down say the Lindenbaum has been amazing to us. They started up classes October 9th. 2 days after, there were not as many teachers. The day was definitely more relaxed, but they started up classes giving us learning opportunities, opportunities to talk. And from then, classes have been normal. We've been having our full schedule, some days from 8:45 to 10 p.m. I've been trying to go to as many classes as possible, sometimes doing half classes and half volunteering throughout the day. But I've definitely still been learning, which has been really nice.
One of the things that I think is unique about Midrashet Lindenbaum is that they have an Israel program for Israelis. Can you tell us a little bit about the interaction there? You think a lot of the Israelis are either pre or post army. Have they been called up? What are you seeing?
So most of the Israelis are pre-army. We have a couple of post-army, but they were not called up. The Israelis were not here for 2 weeks. They had like 2 weeks off after the start of the war. And then when they came back, it was actually really nice because the building was a lot more full. A lot of the girls are pre-army and I think are definitely going there next year. We've had several girls who have come in for classes who are in the army actually. So we've been seeing more people. We've been seeing several girls come in walking around with their machine guns, which has been interesting, but they still like will sit in a classroom and then go learn for a little before going back. So that's actually been incredible to see as well.
Unbelievable. Short break, comes to study some Torah together. There are so many moments over the last 3 weeks that have been both devastating, heartbreaking, and there have been people who have talked about, moments that have been, inspiring. Are there moments that stick out for you over the last 3 weeks that you might want to share with us?
Sure, there are actually a bunch of moments that stick out to me. I'll pick 2 or 3. I would say one of the first moments that sticks out to me is it's actually from October 8th. So it was the day after, and walking around, not seeing a lot of people out, going into the Makolet, and someone talking about how this is like the Yom Kippur War, an older lady, and so that was a really surreal experience. It's not so positive, but it was definitely surreal. Another was someone on the street. Their son died on October 7th, and the whole entire community came out to walk them to the bus that was taking them to the funeral, and it was an incredible sense of community, and also it was really nice to be part of that. And definitely a positive thing that for me has been really nice is, like I said, the babysitting. I know it may sound weird, like to want to go look after someone else's kids but it's been a nice break to go and play with kids when they recognize me. It's like amazing. I'm not just some stranger that's coming. When we've done the Kaitana, kids I babysit for have run up to me, give me hugs, want to play with me, sit on my lap, read stories. So that's been really nice. And also hearing moms say that how much they appreciate it it's just made me, not only me feel really good, but it's also been something really nice to look forward to.
Incredible. And these are families that their parents, their fathers or mothers are in the army? Like, what's that experience?
So it's, like I said, it's getting back to a new normal, but the first couple of weeks, it was almost a solemn feeling in the house. Sometimes the kids would talk about, their dad is away and we're making cards for him. So also trying to navigate how to talk about that with kids was interesting. And how they talk about it, they always talk about how their dad is a hero and how he's gone. But also sometimes it's really hard when they talk about, they miss him so much, or we're gonna wait for him. So it's been a bit of both. But they're all Miluim families, so their husbands, most of the time their husbands are away, either in the north or the south.
Wow. Sort of, obviously this is the Shana Ba'aretz, your year in Israel. On that sort of mini community of students spending a year in Israel, do you have a sense of what people are thinking? Did a lot of people come back? What's your sense of that community, and what's the sentiment?
So I will say that there are a bunch of seminaries and yeshivas where either a lot or all of their kids left, actually, and they're doing online classes. I'm thankful to say that Lindenbaum, we only had 8 out of our 50 students leave, and we actually had 3 students switch in. So it's definitely evened out. We have 1 student coming back tonight, a couple more that are planning to come back. I think people feel differently. So some people don't necessarily want to come back right away. They've recognized that either they need some time at home to process. Many are still want to come back and either will come back soon or in the near future, hopefully. And I've also seen a lot more kids are thinking about making Aliya from this, which has been really interesting. One might think the opposite, but a lot of them have shown interest in going to the army, doing Shirut Leumi, and getting involved in Israel for a longer time.
You were sharing before how a little bit sometimes the sentiment is that you're at the front page of this chapter of Jewish history and being in Israel. Could you tell us a little bit about what that feeling is for you being in Israel at this time?
Yeah, so actually I was telling our brand earlier, and also I was talking with some other people this weekend and saying how it's actually, I think, really nice to be in Israel at this time, as weird as that sounds. Everyone here is having a collective feeling. So I don't necessarily feel like I'm the only one going to a grocery store, going to a shop that has a heavy feeling in their chest over something that's happening in the world right now, which is a really nice community feeling just collectively in Israel, and knowing that everyone, regardless of their opinions in general, is still feeling that loss or hope or whatever, but everyone's collectively in the war together here, which I think, like I was saying before, is I think one of the hardest parts about being outside of Israel right now is not feeling that sense of community and not knowing that like everyone around you is going through the same thing.
All right. So one of the things I'd like to ask our guests who we've had in these settings is sort of from their perspective, what are things you think we need to know in America that maybe we're not picking up from the news that sort of, I mean, one of the things that you said that really stuck out for me is that the attitude in Yerushalayim now, sort of not realizing that there aren't men between the age of 20 and 50, that sort of image is one that I don't think any of us at home have really processed. And it definitely doesn't come up in the news and wasn't even mentioned to us at all. What are some of, obviously not just that, but just in general, what do you think are things we should know here in America?
So I think one of the biggest things, which has definitely been a theme through me anyways through this conversation, is I know that I'm on the ground and that I can like see what I've been doing, even if it's hard sometimes, and like see the impact I'm having. But I think to really recognize that in any way that you're helping in the US, whether it's money or advocacy or education, like that it really means so much. Anytime like I see someone post something pro-Israel on Instagram or any social media, it's actually been really, really nice for me and really uplifting, as well as whatever as it sounds, any money that you donate to any causes. So whether my cousin, I have a cousin that's in the army right now, he's in the South currently, and my uncle got donations to buy, they needed watches and he got donations to buy his entire unit watches. So that's something that they have. With donation money, we've been able to run kaitanot. We've been able to make craft packages that either Millennium families can take home, or families that are from the South in Yerushalayim can take home and give them something to do in the day. So I really think that it's really hard actually to be in the US right now, not necessarily seeing everything you're doing and to maybe feel that loneliness, but everything, like every little thing really, really matters. And I think that that's something to like hold on to at least.
No, that's helpful to hear, because I think a lot of times we feel like our contribution is not what can we do from overseas, and that's helpful to hear. And I think these meetings are so important also, so we can sort of hear what's going on the ground and get a sense for that and be able to use that to empower us to push forward. I guess I want to ask you one more question. One of the things that's sort of on our minds, in addition to all the war, is conversation about the hostages and those that are held captive in Gaza. Is that part of the dialogue in Israel? Is that, I mean, I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
Can you share a little bit like what that looks like in Israel?
So obviously it's been really interesting to talk to a lot of different people with a lot of different opinions. So I honestly think there's a wide range of opinions. I've heard someone say like a ceasefire or anything like that is totally not on the table. The hostages need to be taken out, and like a ceasefire isn't going to help that. I've heard people say that the hostages are like the first thing, and that's really everyone's main focus. I've heard people say that Hamas is the main target and the hostages are going to be there, so we need to, like, it's a double sword. I think hostages are in everyone's mind. Honestly, there are posters all over the place, not just in America, they're also everywhere in Israel. Everyone's remembering them or hearing stories about them. People are talking about them, keeping them in their thoughts. So I think that everyone's focus is still on the hostages. And also some people, though, have also switched to more focus on the soldiers who are there as well, and kind of doing both. So I don't know how much that made sense, but it's definitely a wide range of opinions, I'll tell you that. But everyone says that we should get the hostages out.
You hear about the posters here in America, and I've seen some recent photos of like the airport where they have pictures of every hostage in the Israeli airport in Ben Gurion. Yeah. And it sounds like from what you're describing that it's in all the streets as well, in terms of.
Yeah, like down the block there's a Makolet, and even going to the Makolet, I'm seeing posters when I go to Katsefet, which is around the corner, or 20 minutes away. There's posters all over. So I think as much as there are posters in the US and other places, so also people are putting them here to make sure that they stay in the forefront of everyone's mind and everyone remembers them, which I think is really important.
Awesome. Aliya, any last idea you want to leave us with?
Any last idea I want to leave you with? I don't know. I think like through everything, remembering that even though you're far away, your contribution still matters. And honestly, anyway, I think that also, I don't know, I actually want to say that I'm really thankful for the opportunity to be in Israel, regardless of the time. It has not been so fun this year so far, but it's really been an amazing experience, and it's not something I would necessarily want to trade.
Wiser words, perhaps not yet spoken by anyone else. Aliya, thank you for your wisdom and for those meaningful reflections. We are overwhelmed with your decision to be in Israel to begin with. We were proud that you made that decision, and we are all the more proud that you continue to represent us in Israel, to continue to grow as an individual, as a Bat Torah, and to contribute to the Israeli society in a moment of true need. Stay safe, continue your wonderful work, and we look forward to hearing more about what you're doing in the coming weeks and months. I hope to be in Israel sometime soon to be able to visit with you in person. Thank you for joining us. Thank you everyone for joining us for 20 Minutes for Israel from Israel. We will continue tomorrow with our next installment. Everyone have a great day and stay safe.
Thank you.
Aliya, I'm going to